We're talking exclusively tonight with Dr. Conrad Murray, now serving a 4-year sentence for involuntary manslaughter in the death of Michael Jackson. He is going to be appealing that verdict. He hopes to get his medical license back. I want to talk to him about his appeal. Jury selection in a civil trial just got underway today. Jackson's mother and kids suing AEG Live, which is the concert promoters who are managing the pop star's comeback. The Jackson family says that they were responsible for hiring and keeping Dr. Murray. AEG maintains that it did not employ Murray, that Jackson himself did, and therefore they're not liable. Again, Dr. Conrad Murray joining us by phone from jail, along with Valerie Wass, his attorney here in New York. Dr. Murray, I think, there is a perception out there, and I want you to be able to respond to it. I think a lot of people hear that you had debts, that you were going to be paid $150,000 a month to care for Michael Jackson while he was giving those concerts, and because of that, you were basically willing to do whatever he asked, giving him the propofol, which as you say, is highly unusual. Really no other doctor, except one other case I've ever heard of, would recommend or give propofol in the way you did in a home setting with the kind of equipment you had. What is not true about that perception?
Well, first of all, I have never been money cravatous. I have never been envious of anyone, and my whole life has been based upon making everyone else better. And I am very sympathetic to the cause of humanity, and I have an extremely intense social conscience. One thing that, all is not said in the trial, and certainly things are suppressed, but, if you take, for example, the issue with using propofol in the home, and maybe I was paid money, so that's why I did it, that's not the case. Take, for example, here. In California, the California Medical Board now has a case number, an administrative hearing against Dr. S. Markman. Dr. Markman is defended in front of the California Medical Board because he has been treating his daughter at home with propofol 3 times weekly for genital pain for at least 5 years minimum.
Yeah, but Dr. Murray,
more than 500 times. And the medical
Dr. Murray, I actually know.
Okay,
right, but
Dr. Schaefer.
Yeah, I actually know about that case, and the medical equipment that man has been using was far more advanced than the medical equipment you had.
That's not true, because the medical equipment is, Dr. Schaefer says in his report, he has been told by the man that he has those medical equipment. No one has verified that he has the equipment. But the fact is, Dr. Schaefer finds no contention at all with this man using propofol at home. And he's doing this concurrently while he's also having me impaled to the cross.
But you would agree, sir, when you first heard about Michael Jackson wanted propofol, you yourself thought this was highly unusual.
I did not like it.
Let me ask you about your appeal. I know you are very hopeful on this appeal. What to you is your best, the best case you have going for the appeal, you think? Dr. Murray, then I'm going to ask your attorney as well.
Well, certainly I believe that I was not given due process. I think that the judge was clearly not impartial. I think that the district attorney, David Waldron, did something that was so absurd. He altered evidence in open courtroom. Could you imagine that? If I had to do this again, that's the one thing I would never do. I would never sit quietly in the courtroom and have a district attorney tear open and destroy the integrity of evidence when there was no reason to do that. That was not the only time. There were so many issues of irregularity and obstruction of justice on his part.
Valerie, let me ask you, what do you think is your best chance on appeal?
Well, there are a lot of issues, but the fact that I think that we've been able to demonstrate that Jackson was not on a propofol drip on the day that he died, and the prosecution's case centered around such a theory. And I believe that I've been able to demonstrate that he was not on a propofol drip, that he was only on a saline drip.
Well, they say that there was a slash in the saline bag and that the propofol bottle was actually perched inside the saline bag. You say that's just made up.
It's an absurd theory. There's a missing IV tubing line. They tried to say that he absconded with it in his pocket. There's no evidence of that.
Right.
The cut saline bag and the propofol bottle were found in a blue bag in a closet or a cupboard above Michael Jackson's closet, and it was found along with a lot of medical debris. It was really trash.
Dr. Murray, When you're coming out of jail, regardless of your appeal, what do you want to do? If whether you get your medical license back or not, say you don't get your medical license back, what do you want to do?
Well, Anderson, I want to continue to contribute to humanity and this world in a very significant way. I want that every young child, every mother and father, uncles and aunts, to satisfy dreams that they would have and goals that they want to satisfy. I want to contribute to that.
What does that mean?
I want to motivate people and to continue to do selfless acts of humanities and continue with my philanthropic traits towards helping mankind.
How likely do you think it is that you can get your medical license back?
Anderson, I pray that, hopefully there would be justice in this case, because so far I have only encountered injustice. And if I would prevail in my appeal and given another chance, I will do my utmost to certainly set this aside and hopefully get back on the track where we can continue to help. Remember, I practiced for more than 20 years, Anderson. I never had a public reprimand, never had a medical board warning in all the licensed states, never had any litigation brought against me, no medical malpractice lawsuit. And I have saved a lot of lives and I've helped a lot of patients. Those who were with money and those who weren't, it did not matter to me.
Let me ask you.
No one was turned back from my office.
Let me just ask you finally. You say you were a friend of Michael Jackson. You cared about Michael Jackson. You cared about his children. That's how originally you took care of his children at a hotel in Vegas. That's how they initially met you. His children are now suing this company, AEG Live. There's some people who would say, well, if you were really cared about them, why not testify about what you know in this lawsuit?
If I testify, I'll testify very honestly. It is a sad thing when I look at what's going on television, because if Michael was alive today, he would be absolutely upset. He would be so unhappy with what is happening. Michael said to me, I no longer want to be a bank for my family. But all you see is the continuation of that. He has had some real pains, and I have had some stories of Michael that he has shared with me that I have not shared with the world. But I'll tell you this. We had very, very humble lives, and we both experienced pain. You know what describes me, Anderson? Let me sing something for you. This is important to me. He's a little boy that Santa Claus forgot, and goodness knows he did not want a lot. He wrote a note to Santa for some crayons and a toy. It broke his little heart when he found Santa hadn't come. In the streets, he envied all those lucky boys. But goodness knows he didn't want a lot. I'm so sorry for that laddie who hasn't got a daddy. He's a little boy that Santa Claus forgot. That song tells my story. That's how I grew up. I had no Christmases. I had no toys. I had nothing. I walked barefooted for years. But as I grew up, my heart has been whole, and my heart says to help. And all I do is to give. I want to give. I hope that this world could be a better place.
Do you think money is at the root of I mean, you talked about the Jackson family, that things you had heard, you were concerned about this trial, about the, I guess, are you saying that you think a quest for money by the family is partly to blame for this?
I don't think Dr. Murray should be addressing the AEG trial at this time.
But one thing I'd like to say, I wish that one day I'll get a chance to tell all Michael's fans, people who really, really love him, what happened to Michael. They would really want to know, and if they do find out, their heart would cringe, and they would be in ache and pain.
And to those fans right now who are hearing you and blame you, you have no sense of guilt.
I have been a fan of Michael, and I did everything when I discovered Michael in his condition to try to help him. I could have had a heart attack in my effort, but I did the best I can. I wholeheartedly tried.
But it was your patient who had the heart attack.
What?
It was your patient whose heart stopped.
Listen, if Michael was a stranger or somebody else and I had met him in distress, I would make the same gallant effort.
Dr. Murray, I appreciate you joining us tonight. Valerie Wass as well. Thank you very much. Jeff, too.